Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Talking Triathlon, where James Bale, who is the man opposite me or next to me on YouTube, and myself, Tim Ford, talk all about the sport of triathlon. Jimbo, mate, welcome back to the show. How you going? What's news?
That was very daytime
Radio.
TV, mate. I'm very well, thank you. It's another week into triathlon, the second episode of the year. Stuff will start happening soon, I hope, because at the moment we've got a few sporadic bits of news, but I want some races to talk about, mate. But how are you?
You say the morning TV show, and it's funny, and I'm sorry, I don't know why this entered my brain, but I love a tangent. I was watching, there's a morning TV show in Australia called Sunrise, and yesterday, so recently in Australia, there's been a whole bunch of shark attacks. I mean, it happens there's always shark attacks in Australia. This idea that all these deadly animals in Australia, sharks are probably the one that actually do people in the most often. But I was watching it yesterday, and they interviewed a woman from the US who'd been attacked by a shark. And I thought, why are we talking to an American about a shark attack, considering we've had probably 5 people a year for the last 10 years be attacked by a shark? I thought, this is just such a, like, what are we, like, importing in other people's tragedy now or something? Like, I'm like, we've got plenty of shark attack victims. Or anyway, weird morning television
Tangent.
It was. The morning television thing triggered me, and it's
How
anyway.
are you keeping, mate? How's your training? Rumor is you've entered a marathon.
I have
Another
I
marathon.
have. I said last week that I was taking a bit of a break from triathlon to focus on marathon running, and I thought I better sign up for a marathon to do that. So I have gotten a charity slot to run the Melbourne Marathon in October this year. So much like Jimbo's got his charity slot for London, I've got my charity slot for Melbourne, and you'll probably get sick of me over the next 10 months, 9 months, bothering everybody to try to donate. I think I've already asked James's permission to do a month of the Patreon towards it, which he has kindly agreed, like we did for London. So already, thank you to all our patrons for supporting me to the Melbourne Marathon. But I'm really excited, mate. And yeah, I went down to watch my wife run the Melbourne Marathon a few years ago, and I've done the half, but I think it's going to be a good cause because I want to try to run a sub 250 marathon. So that's my little goal for this year.
Good goal.
Yeah, I think so. I really do remember the prep and everything for Sydney. You know, what was that, 2024 now? And I loved it. I really loved, the longer runs. And by the end, I was sick of it, trust me. But I think it's like, what do they say, like with pregnancy, where you get it far enough away, you're like, yeah, I want to do that again. So we'll do that. And yeah, so that's that. But this week, I've actually not been training. I decided to take a little mini break because it's 12 months of, sort of train. And I was a bit flat over the weekend. I said, okay, I'm going to take an easy week. So I've been doing gym and going for some walks, and I've even started doing Pilates, mate. And fuck me,
Is it hard?
it's really hard, mate.
Yeah.
It's really hard, and it's so humiliating too because you think you should be good at it or whatever, and we had to do a core exercise the other day, and I physically could not do it. Like, I could not lift the way the instructor's like, it's just do this. And I'm like, I'm fucking trying.
Yeah. I used to go to a yoga class in France.
Yep.
And it was a small little setting, so there'd be me and 4 other women, and they were all older than me. They were all, they weren't endurance athletes, so surely I'd be all right. They would just be gracefully doing these moves, and I'm sweating and vibrating and shaking in the corner, in the wrong position. It was embarrassing.
Mate, they use. I'm sorry, triathlon listeners, for talking about Pilates now. They use springs. They've got different colored springs to, like, monitor the resistance. I still don't know which one is which because it's like yellow, red, and blue. I don't know. I don't know which one's easier. I don't know one's harder. But I think, like, day one, she's like, okay, so level 1 is 1 blue and 2 red, and level 2 is 3 red and 1 yellow. And I'm like, well, I'm obviously yellow too, like level 2, obviously. And so I put that, and I'm like, nope, obviously I'm not. Huge mistake. Like, it's man, yeah, and they're quite complicated. Anyway, it's good. I'm sure it'll be worth it, but I have just been permanently sore for like a week in places I have never been sore before. So hopefully it pays off. But yeah, I will be back to feeling very good, which is nice after a little bit of a break. So I'll probably start up some easy training next week and then build up towards Melbourne Marathon. Will begin.
When is Melbourne Marathon?
I believe it's normally the same weekend as Kona, to be honest. So
Okay, so
first
you've
or
got
second
quite a
weekend.
distance.
Yeah, October. I was looking at doing Gold Coast in July, but because I really want to go that 250, I thought I might just give myself a slightly longer build. And I may have recruited a special person who may or may not be a professional athlete to help give me a bit of a program towards the marathon.
Are you coaching yourself, or are you?
At the moment, I am. I have been for about a month. When I decided to take the break, and by training myself, it's like 20K run, 100K ride, 20K run, 100K ride, 20K run, 100. Like, it's not very technical. But no, I will get some assistance, I think, with the running.
Who's your special person?
Joe. Joe said he's going to give me a program. So
Skipper.
yeah, Skipper's going to help me.
Okay.
He might kill me. But yeah, he said he'd give me some tips or give me a bit of a plan to running marathons. But knowing him, it's going to be endless double threshold days and fucking. I look at the sessions he does, and I'm like, I don't know if I'm up for that. I don't know if I'm quite keen for that, but yeah, we'll see.
Man, I see his sessions on Instagram with the pace that they're running, and I'm like, that's insane.
Yes, mate. Have you? I've run with Joe, and it's like he just goes, "Oh, we're just going to pick it up a little bit," and you're like, "Oh, okay." And he's suddenly going like 3:30 pace, which is like beyond flat out for me. And he's just talking.
3:30. Yeah, I was doing my 1 minute intervals at 3:30 the other day.
Yeah, and he's just chatting with you, and you're just like, I remember one run in Antibes where we're doing that, and I'm like dry retching, like literally trying not to vomit while I'm running, literally. And
strange, isn't it? Because I find when I'm running like 3:30 pace, I feel like I'm out of control running. You know, it's like that's like sprinting for me.
It is for me too.
Yeah. Whereas, yeah, I went and watched I volunteer at the Junior Park Run every Sunday now in my local town, and the 10-year-old that wins that runs 3:30 for 2K, and I'm like,
no, that ain't it, Chief.
I'm not happy with this.
Do you think the listeners are aware that the reason we're doing this is because there's not much to talk about?
Yeah, paddings.
Padding is what it is.
I'm now 3 months. 3 months. The Sunday just gone until it's London Marathon time. I'm very excited for this race. I've got a little twinge in my hip today, but I'm gonna have a day off tomorrow just to let it dissipate. But yeah, I'm really excited for that race now.
How long is your long run at the moment?
How long is my long run? Right.
Yeah, where you are in your training, where's your long run up to?
About 16 to 20K.
Okay. Yeah, you got 12 weeks. So
yeah, I'm more than happy with where my fitness is. I need to still drop a bit more weight. I bought my race shoes the other day, so they're in a box waiting for race day. I took some advice on the because you know the old belief back from the 90s probably was that you had to put like 20 to 30K into a pair of running shoes before they were alive. Apparently nowadays the super shoes are good to go from the box, so you just leave it until race day, maybe do one tempo run beforehand.
Yeah, that's what I normally do. I do one little tempo run just to make sure they're not going to fuck me.
Make sure they're not blisters or something. Yeah,
and then box them. I mean, yeah. So, mate, I love to hear that. I am so keen for you to run London Marathon. I think it's going to be absolutely awesome. It's late April, isn't it?
April 26th, and I've got all the prizes on the bed behind me, all coming.
You got my Lucy Charles shoe because I want that shoe.
The Lucy Charles shoe, yeah, that's right, yeah.
All right, well, look, let's stop padding. It's time to get into the show, and the first thing I thought we would talk about this week, Jimbo, is about the new team sponsor for the team formerly known as the BIanchi Pro Triathlon team. Now, I think this is, I know that last year we were talking, you sort of, I'm in an iron about buying a bike, and you found this really beautiful, unique, not very common TT bike that you were going to invest in, and you were sort of in an iron, what are you going to do? You're going to do this big investment, blah, 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 blah. You pull the trigger, believing that it's a big,
it goes further because
tell me.
2003 is, in my opinion, the greatest Tour de France of that era. The dope to fuck era. It's the one where Ulrich finished within a minute and a second or so of Lance. And that was the 1 year of his career where he rode a BIanchi. And ever since I was that age, I've been obsessed with wanting a BIanchi. specifically a BIanchi TT bike. Now, I know anybody listening out there will tell me that they weren't actually BIanchi TT bikes back then. It was just badged up as, but still, to my young eyes, I saw Jan Ulrich riding a BIanchi TT bike. So I've always wanted one. And then the problem with the BIanchi TTs in recent years was that their last model was the last TT bike in the pro peloton to still have rim brakes. They hadn't gone over to disc brakes. Then they relaunched with this new model last year, and it's coming to the UK this year, and it's beautiful. And the reason I like BIanchi, mate, is because they're mysterious. It's a mysterious brand from Italy that
Not common.
mystique to it, and you don't see a huge amount of BIanchis around, and certainly not in the triathlon world. You don't see a huge amount in different races. They're not common at all.
Well,
But yeah, I pushed the button.
yeah, so you orders the rear bike, and then here, and I'm like so excited as well because I love a blue bike. People will know me. My bikes are blue. I love blue. My race kit's blue. And here I am on Instagram this week scrolling. I've always had so happy that James has ordered that. I can't wait to see James on that really beautiful BIanchi. And suddenly BIanchi pops up on my feed. I'm like, that's weird. Who's that? I'm like, oh, Cameron Main, British drummer. And then I'm like, hang on a second. There's a few other people that have a BIanchi. In fact, there's 6 people that have a BIanchi. What possibly could be there? I'm like, it's not the BMC Pro Team anymore. It is now
the BMC Pro Team anymore. And this is something that me and you have known a little bit of time, but haven't been talking about. But I didn't know before I decided to buy my team. I'm still happy I've got my dream bike. I love it. I just wish it now wasn't there.
You should have asked Bob for a discount. Probably, yeah, got it. Yeah, cheaper.
Bob, hook me up, bro. But what a interesting development. The BMC Pro Team is no longer the BMC Pro Team. The BMC have stepped away as working as a partner for that, and now BIanchi have stepped in. And I mean, I've got to say, I prefer BIanchi as a brand to BMC. I like BMC. For me, they're not particularly aesthetically pleasing bikes. They are function over form, whereas a BIanchi will be a temperamental, demanding monster, but it'll look good doing it, so I don't give a shit. But yeah, I think their branding, their aesthetic is right up my street. As you know, my business logo is color matched to the BIanchi team colors. So I associate a lot of what I do, business and the colors I like in my running shoes and stuff with that color, and now they're all dressed in it as well.
Well, look, Bob, mate, I mean, huge missed opportunity here. And Bob, I know you listen. It's time to bring on a runner to the BMC Pro Team. I think James Bale gets a start. It's time.
Yeah,
let's do it.
Let's make aerodynamic head like this, mate. The speeds I can get.
Well, this is the thing that shits me, right? All these fucking triathletes always doing their testing on these elite, beautifully fit, ripped, not an ounce of fat on their bodies, and they're like, "This is the most." I'm like, "That's not real world testing. We need to move beyond this. We need a Bale in the wind tunnel. We need a James Bale in that wind tunnel, and that's when we're going to get the real data. That's when the amateurs are going to understand."
It's like back in the day when all the TT bikes were pointy, because they tested them in the wind tunnel rather than out on the road in the winds. You need a triathlete that isn't pointy. So I can
and that is one thing I would say about you. It's not a pointy triathlete, James Bale. Not the first word that comes to mind is pointy. But look, so
they're cool looking bikes, aren't they?
They are. And there has been some changes to the team roster this year with BMC. Sorry. We have to, already, I can tell it's going to be a problem.
Oh, it's going to be the team formerly known as BMC for some time now, isn't it?
I do want to say I actually do really like the road bikes from BMC. I think they're quite a sexy road bike. I didn't like that TT bike because we behind the scenes we worked with them for the Sub 7 sponsorship, but they had that Red Bull and I was so excited seeing that. So I'm like, oh, okay, it's not really what I imagined, but
it's very straight lines. It's very straight lines. It's very. I'm sure it does a really wonderful job. For me, it doesn't. It's never floated my boat. Their aesthetic. It's too Lego bricky.
And again, Cadel Evans, obviously Australia's Tour de France winner, did that racing for BMC, so always a slightly special place in my heart. But yeah, so the 6 athletes on BIanchi Pro Tri team this year: Cameron Main, Antonio Benito Lopez remains, Lauren Madsen remains, Miguel Hidalgo remains, Daisy Davies and Finn Gross Fries remain the 6. So Sam Dickinson, Lucy Barham, I believe, have decided not to renew, or have they're no longer part of the team formerly known as BMC Pro Tri team. I really like. So again, I've dealt with Bob a lot in terms of. We dealt with Bob originally, I think, was around the sub 7, sub 8 project when Kat Matthews was doing it. But since then, I've had so many different catch ups, meetings, discussions
He's a
with
good
Bob.
man.
One of the genuinely good people in triathlon, and I, to this day, do not understand why this model doesn't. Like, why aren't there more BMC? Fuck. Why aren't there more BIanchi Pro Tri team models happening? Because I think that, so for people playing along, it's very much more sort of like that cycling team idea where you've got the kit provided. They get, to be honest, they get paid pretty well. But it's also like team doctor, team support. They do a team camp where they capture all the content. So they do all this stuff to just try to make it a bit easy for the athletes and genuinely really support the athletes. I know the story that always comes to mind for me was Amelia Watkinson, who actually retired. So Amelia, congratulations on your career. But a couple of years ago, when Amelia was part of the pro team, she had something happened with her health, and BMC Pro Time just sorted it for her, got her into hospital, like they just took care of the whole, like above and beyond. And again, I just feel like I've always wondered why there's not more of this in triathlon. And to be honest, I think this seems to be on the decline a little bit. So I'd love to see more of these teams in long course triathlon because I think it's a good model.
Yeah, I agree. I think it is a good model. And I think the way the sponsorship landscape is getting harder and harder, you bundle these things together and you get more value out of it, I think.
Fully. It's yeah, I agree. I agree. Anyway, we don't need to keep having that conversation because I feel like we're about to go into Tim and James talk about shit sponsorship is again, and we don't need to do that. The other thing then, I guess we can move on from the. So again, congratulations, BMC. Fuck. Congratulations, BIanchi Pro Tri. This is going to be I can see this is going to be a bit for the rest of the year, I think.
Yeah.
That is, so well done, BIanchi Pro Tri team. Good luck this season. Yeah. The next thing, mate.
It's annoying though, because I was going to get myself a little tri suit made, obviously with the BIanchi colors, but now I just look like I'm a wannabe BIanchi Pro Tri team member.
Mate, again, I don't get it. You've got a beautiful tri suit. You don't need another tri suit. I don't.
Tri suit's never getting one. It's going to be put in with one of the prizes without somebody knowing. That it will just be in their prize packet. Whatever they win, they'll get that wrapped around it.
Okay. So for people playing along at home, after our episode last week, I did commission a tasteful nude of James Bale. And
did you put a picture of me into AI and say add 30 kilograms?
No, I believe
that guy's knees.
I believe what I did is I said, think of the George Costanza photo from Seinfeld, where he's in the underwear. And I said, I want that image with this face, basically. And then I said, make the towel, make the strategically placed towel an Ironman finisher towel is what I actually. So it's George Costanza's body with a similar version of your face. So what I think you should.
Yeah, I mean,
it wasn't you. That's why when you're like, because I was going to put it on Instagram, you're like, you will absolutely know. Well, technically, James, it's not you. So,
but I didn't want people thinking my knees look like that.
Mate, I think that the last thing they would be looking at. To be honest, I've not even looked at the legs. I was too drawn in by the sultry gaze. But I think what you should do with that kit is we should get that photo, and then we should get the kit signed by Bale, framed, and then that should be the major prize of this raffle. I think that would be the major
biggest prize.
The biggest prize.
The life changer.
Let's talk about the big thing. The big thing that we touched on last week a little bit that has now been made official. Ironman has come out and announced it. Challenge Roth has come out and announced it. PTO's going, what are you talking about? We've been doing this for years. It is official, James Bale. Ironman have changed the draft distance from 12 meters to 20 meters for pro triathlon. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, we kind of went over it a bit last week, didn't we? So we won't flog a dead horse on
Fucking better, because
I mean, we talked about the fact that yes, it's probably going to demonstrate a fairer example, in my opinion, of who is the strongest athlete when it comes to being an individual effort triathlete. But is it going to excite the broadcast? I don't think so. I don't think it's gonna add much to that broadcast experience. I might be wrong. And but I think it's gonna have quite an impact on the fields, and we're gonna see some of the weaker swimmer, stronger bikers having a much more interesting day when it comes to racing.
I think Sam Laidlow's absolutely loving this. I'm thinking he's like, fucking, I got this in the bag, baby. Nobody's coming close. You're right. We did touch on this last week.
Sam Long will be pleased. Someone like Lionel Sanders will be pleased.
You see,
Patrick Lang is weeping somewhere.
Yeah, Joe. I know Joe's being very adamant about it too. I don't know if it's actually going to help those guys that much. Maybe 70.3. I just think at Ironman, the gaps with the swim are already so big, and some of these swim bikers now are so strong. Like, I don't really see it, because again, we talk about those guys coming through. Anyway, look, I agree. I think it's going to make absolutely fair racing, and I really appreciated in the last week the discussion we've had with our patrons about this, because I feel like if you had to, I think the triathlon one is very positive about this, and I certainly am not against. Like, again, I think from a purely who is the best triathlete, like individual like Ironman non-draft triathlete, this is a great positive step forward. And to see the way people have been like, yeah, there is, now that we actually stop and think about it, you can understand why maybe there's going to be some changes to things that we hadn't maybe thought about. And it has made me, I think, like, so I actually genuinely get worried about talking about this stuff, because people are so passionate about the non-drafting. So I've put a lot of thought into what it is about this. And I genuinely think with this sport, everybody who's listening now, yourself, like, or maybe us a little bit less these days, but I feel like with things that happen in triathlon, and this is across the board, we all tend to think of it from our point of view as an athlete first. So it's, well, I'm a triathlete, I do Ironman. So me, like, I like this because I get the shits when I'm racing and some prick sits on my wheel. So therefore this is a good thing. And I genuinely, again, I get it, right? You're like, yep. This thing in particular, I think I've gone beyond that, because at first I was like, fuck yeah, this is great. But I think now that we've had the T100 example where I feel like it isn't great, I am like, I sort of sit here going, am I the crazy one? Like, am I the outlier here?
I don't think of it from me as an athlete's perspective at all.
Because you're not a pointy triathlete, man. That's
not a pointy triathlete, yeah. And Jay, I think that's probably it. The fact that I don't really race that much anymore. I haven't thought about it like that. And even when I was racing, there's only a couple of races really where I was in the mix and would have worried that much. I mean, nobody likes a dickhead hanging off the back wheel, but it is what it is. I have my positive thinking towards it comes more from that purity of the effort.
Yeah.
You know, and promoting the purity of the effort. And I can completely understand the concerns about what it's going to do to the broadcast. When you look at what the T100 have got, their lack of vibes on the broadcast is sum total of much more than the drafting distance, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The difference between, forget the very end of Marbella, but the difference between what you get from a TV broadcast in the 70.3 World Championships in Marbella and the any T100 race, where there weren't many crowds, it seemed really quiet, not particularly engaged, not very vibey. And the amount of vibes you were getting, and I've said vibes so many times now, the amount of vibes you were getting in Marbella when you're watching it, because you've got the crowd, you've got the amateur athletes racing at the same time. I think, little things like, don't underestimate how much it draws the audience of a broadcast in when they see other athletes stopping their race as the pros sprint towards the end just to cheer them on and scream at them as they go past. It creates energy. So I don't think the T100's issue is simply the draft distance. I think you might, if you've still got that level of energy at the Ironman races, I think the draft distance might not cause that much of a problem.
No. Again, I think you're making some very, 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 very potentially valid points there.
I always
I had, I mean, it's endless with you. Look, like I said, I genuinely think from an actual rate. I mean, I still think that there are bigger issues to overcome than necessarily the draft in between athlete distance. I think that they need to look at things like motorbikes and those sort of the impacts of those things on course because and to be honest, this is one of those things where I'm actually going to say I don't necessarily think this is always the bigger races. I have seen results in smaller races last year where athletes have gotten out of the swim and have ridden like absolutely diabolical bike splits, put in minutes and minutes and minutes into athletes, and you go, and then you see photos and they're like a meter behind a lead moto and stuff like that. And you're like, yeah, okay, that's the sort of thing. And I wonder if that's going to be another thing that's sort of exacerbated by this because in those Ironman broadcasted races, it often is the first people on the bike course then get the bikes for the cameras and everything. So I just think, I don't want to say, I always joke with Joe that
draft behind a motorbike is much, much more than 20 meters. Absolutely.
I'd like to see them put race ranges on the motorbikes or something and actually start to, because again, there's so much, you read the statement about this and they've shown the difference that drafting make, blah, 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 in these packs, but I still like, where's the information around the impact of those bikes on a race? So I still think there are big issues, but again, we'll see. I think you're right. I probably am a little bit jaded or tainted by what we've seen with T100 because we've seen good racing at T100 too. Last year, I just don't think we really did, and you're probably right. It is a bit more to do with other things beyond just the draft distance. But yeah, like I just wonder, are we? I think back to Kona a couple of years ago where Langer did run through. Are those days over? Like, are we not going to see that anymore? Are we just going to see it be like the more sudden to come in at ones? Individuals, and then is it going to be a much more individual sort of race? Are we going to see something more akin to the Collins Cup where you sort of struggle to show what's happening because the gap? I don't know, but I honestly also feel like the broadcast, which is something that we seem to be obsessed with, is probably becoming a lot less relevant for the sport as a whole because again, things that we're probably not ready. There has been developments this week that I know I've shared with you that I've heard that we certainly can't say publicly, but I feel like we're seeing even more of a movement away from the pro side of some race series and the broadcast sort of not going to be a thing anymore. And yeah, so that's why it's like ultimately does this sort of, do they care about the broadcast? Are they actually sitting there going, like, I mean, going, fuck, this is going to adversely affect the viewing experience, or they just go, who cares? Like, actually, so few people watch, it doesn't really matter. So, yeah, I think it's good for a pro fairness. I think great, beautiful. I completely get it. Maybe I'd like to manufacture a bit more drama, and by drama, I don't mean like anything bad. I just mean closer racing and closer finishes.
Yeah, I mean, they said it was through multi-phase draft zone testing that they've done. So they've obviously seen quite compelling results that have led them to go, okay, this is making a real difference. But that, I don't know, maybe it's just, maybe I'm just a cycling geek, but I don't need multi-phase draft zone testing to tell me that the draft zone is longer than 12 fucking meters.
Yeah, I mean, anybody knows it. Like,
yeah.
I still remember that race I did in North Carolina where I've seen people online being like, I enjoyed drafting. I didn't enjoy drafting, but I used to always be the angry rider that you'd pass a group who were clearly like working as that to be honest, they're not drafted, they're just 12 meters apart. and you just, oh, for fuck's sake, so you pass them. You put, a big surge in for like 10K trying to get, and you turn around, they pass you instantly, and just like, so I remember that race where I actually went, you know what, I'm actually just going to work with a group. And again, I wasn't drafting. I don't draft. But I was like, oh, this is actually quite pleasant, to be honest, because
Yeah.
I'd sit, yeah.
Yeah, I did the same in the UK once. There was a group of people, they weren't drafting each other. They were racing as a pack.
Yeah, okay.
And I went past them, tried to drop them, couldn't. They went past me, and I sat 12 meters behind this group of cyclists. I got a hell of a draft off that. I wasn't doing anything wrong, so I was 12 meters back, but I couldn't drop the bastards, so I had to stay behind them.
I don't know how many times I used to do in a race where you especially on a lap course, you start to pass the groups, and then you be past. And I remember once, the only time I ever got a drafting penalty actually when I was racing, I still was like, what the actual fuck? I passed this huge group, like probably 30 athletes in a it was at Sunshine Coast 70.3 years ago, and I got passed by this huge group after I'd tried to pass them, and then on the back of the group was like 60 plus age group athletes, basically freewheeling past me. And I'm like, fuck, what can you do? And then I got the penalty. The guy came up to me and issued me a penalty. And I was like, what? I said, mate, I just got passed by a group of people with people freewheeling off the back, and I'm the one. Like, what's going on? I'm like, all right, dude. Like, yep, that's absolutely crazy to me. But
Yeah.
I was like, what can you do? Right. So, I mean, yeah, I have a solution, but again, I don't want to be known as that guy that just keeps rabbiting on about non-draft, draft legal long course racing. Who knows? Maybe. Yeah, I think that's about it to talk about this. Good. We'll see. The patron saint of the podcast, Lionel Sanders, is probably very happy about this. Maybe this is the pathway to the success that we want to see for Lionel Sanders. I don't know. Maybe we're going to see a few short course. Vince Louis going for Kona this year. I'll be interested to see how that works for him. There's a few athletes I think are probably not very happy about this. I see people saying that this is going to be the retirement of Patrick Langer. I don't necessarily believe so. The thing is, right, every change that happens in this sport, some athletes adapt and others don't. And you see them, the ones who don't manage to adapt sort of get left behind. I feel like if you're a sort of weaker swimmer and you've just been saying, oh, it's because of the draft on the bike, and you've failed to address your swim, no 20-minute draft is going to help. Like if you're not, front or chase pack swimming these days, maybe I'm wrong, but I just don't see that mattering at a big, strong field race where you're going to have 20 guys who are swimming, within seconds of each other, and then getting out on the bike 5-6 minutes ahead. Even with a 20-minute draft, they're all such strong swim bikers these days and excellent runners. Yeah. Okay. So that's that.
Challenge Roth as well.
Correct. I thought they had it, to be honest. I will.
Yeah.
I thought it was 20 meters at Roth.
They're doing it as a trial this year to go from 12 meters to 20 meters. And if you'd asked me, it's one of those things where I just believed it to be so.
Yeah. I genuinely thought Roth. I thought Challenge already had 20-minute draft, but I mean, good luck on that course. Fucking hell. That course, 2 laps, that second lap is the most unpleasant thing to watch on a broadcast, just because there's fucking amateurs everywhere. So I just don't know how that's going to work, but I'm sure they'll give it a red hot crack. Great event. Mate, something came up in the WhatsApp group this morning that I thought we'd have a bit of a chat about. Just because I actually think it sort of we'll go from this conversation into this, and I'm sure we'll tie the two together. But I saw the WhatsApp guys were sharing that Kristian Blummenfelt has recently been doing some. Imagine Kristian Blummenfelt doing some lab testing. Can you possibly imagine a scenario where Kristian Blummenfelt is in a lab testing his VO2 max?
Nah, he doesn't give a shit about the details, does he?
Not a very scientific guy, I don't think. Like, I think he just sort of, they got rid of their coach, rides that big horrible KDX bike, just doesn't seem to really give a shit about.
Lower in Rocky 4, isn't he? He goes up and runs up some mountains, chops some logs.
I know. I can just imagine. He does seem to be running the snow a lot. Like, every time I see stuff on Strava, and it's just him surrounded. Yeah, good on you, Kristian. I don't know how you do that. I hate it running in Norway in winter. But Kristian Blummenfelt's VO2 max of 100 and was it 101.2 or something like that?
101.1.
It's big. It's big. It's huge. It's a big VO2 max, mate. And I mean, is this it? Is this the magic number that means Kristian is going to absolutely win everything this year?
No.
Care to explain why? What do you think? What's the...
I mean, look, it's fine. It's a very good VO2 max. He's a gritty bastard, isn't he? So I can imagine him. Yeah, like awesome. Good work. Let's see how that translates into real world racing as the I'm going to say something now that you might disagree with.
I hope I do. It makes for better podcasting.
I don't think Kristian Blummenfelt will ever win Kona.
Wow. You know, but so
love him as I do, and he's my favorite listener.
Yeah.
So sorry, Kristian.
Christian's probably knowing Christian is sitting there right now, and he's just like, I imagine him right now.
Plus, he did ignore me though when I messaged him and asked him for a raffle prize. So he's one of the only people that hasn't come back. So fuck you, Christian.
Christian, get him a fucking white tri-suit, mate. What are you doing? Get him one of those white tri-suits that you're testing. It's still got your sweat on it. I imagine right now Christian is listening to this. He's got that beautiful house in Bergen. I've seen the shots of it on Insta. He's sitting in his house. He's got all the lights off. He's only got the lights of the city coming through that window behind him. He's sitting in his armchair and he's listening to this. And he like looks up and he's like, right. Like he's fueled by this, mate. He's fueled by it. He's getting on the trainer right now. He's getting on the trainer right now. So I'm going to train
out in his hand. He's just added my name to the list.
The list. At this point, I took it personally. He's done that Michael Jordan. I took it personally. I know a lot of. I mean, I know that Chris Macca has always said that he thinks Christian is going to struggle with Kona, and that's why I think I've always said I see Christian and Macca having a very similar sort of Kona journey, right? Where on paper, both of them should win every single time, and so far with Christian, every single time he hasn't managed to win it, and I really. God, I hope, as much as I hope Lionel does well, I fucking hope Christian wins Kona so much more than Lionel ever will. Because Christian's I love Christian. You know, we love you, mate.
Yeah.
I
posted me a fresh turd though, isn't he, as a raffle prize?
I've got your raffle gift for you. It's the thermometer that we use for our inner core body temperature that they slot up there in their backside to test it. That's what your raffle prize is, mate. There'll be somebody who wants that.
There'll be somebody who wants that.
Yes, I know, unfortunately. I think that similar to what you were just talking about, look, Christian is extremely strong across the board. But I know that athletes have always tried to drop him by riding away from him because they need a gap because he's such a competent swim bike runner. He's certainly not front pack like a Laidlaw or those guys. And we know that that's why, we don't know. That's why I suspect that Laidlaw blew up in Kona a couple of years ago. Same with Magnus. They were trying to get away so there was a gap over Christian on the run. I do see the 20-minute draft impacting Christian just because it'll purely be him. Not that, again, I'm not trying to suggest that it isn't, but I just think that I guess just that natural benefit from the 12-meter versus 20 will make it a little bit harder for him to ride up, or it just means those gaps off the run might be a little bit more. Yeah, he's probably one of the athletes that came to mind as a real curiosity for me about what this is going to do. But the VO2 max point, it's such a funny number that I hear so many people, this isn't Christian specific, like Christian's VO2 at this point, Dr. Evil, it's 100 million billion, and you'd be like, maybe. But like I heard somewhere that they said that Hayden Wild's VO2 was the highest ever recorded in Oceania or Australasia or Australia, New Zealand or something. And I'm like, maybe. Like it's just such a weird thing to flex on. It's like, oh, my FTP is 6,000. It's like, maybe. It doesn't, these numbers are great, but I still think that if we're at a point where the sport is purely based on the results, based on these scientific measures, fuck this. Like I don't want the sport to be like a calculation.
No, I don't want it to just be like, well, his VO2 max is bigger, so he wins.
Yeah, exactly.
Miguel Indurain had a VO2 of 88, and that was significant at the time.
Yeah.
I think Lance's was 84.
Christian's is varies. So Christian's is 17 above that. Again, good. I think mine's like 50 something or 6. I always get superior on my Garmin. I'm like, it makes me feel good about myself. I'm like,
I'm just in the superior. Mine's like just topped into that. It's like 50 something.
Okay.
So
Good.
Jan Ulrich's was 88 apparently. I want to see what Bjorn Reese's was.
But I just always find it funny that Kristian's VO2 in particular has almost become like the boogeyman of triathlon, where I was like, fucking hell, gee, Kristian's got the biggest Kristian's got the biggest VO2 ever recorded. Kristian Blummenfelt got the biggest thing. Kristian's got the biggest. Like, all right, mate. Like, yep, cool. Hayden's got the biggest one. It's like, okay, cool. Like, yep. Yeah, it's like good thing for us to talk about a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, I don't want it to come down to numbers. I don't want to know who's going to win based on their VO2 max. I think efficiency is a big thing when it comes to this kind of number. And I also I know that you VO2 max testing, when you're wearing a mask, you're in a harness, you're on a treadmill, it is to failure. That's where you're meant to go. You're meant to go to that point where you collapse. I think there is an element of, it's a shortish test, and Kristian's psychology is set up to get a really, really good result on that test.
Oh, mate, he's the toughest. He is the,
He's the real Lionel Sanders.
He's who Lionel has nightmares about. Like Lionel Sanders lays there in bed thinking about how hard he wants to race, and then Kristian does what Lionel dreams about.
I am now the person that Kristian has nightmares about. Just hears this never win Kona, never win Kona, never win Kona, never win Kona.
Kristian's, mate, if you want, let me know and I'll get our editor to get that as a sound grab for you, and I'll send it to you, and you can literally just have that, and every morning that can be your alarm. No. That can be your alarm. You say, oh, fucking James Bow, I'm gonna fucking show him. I think that I want to see more of what we saw in Nice this last year, where we had those 5 guys get off, and I just wonder if that's going to happen because of the 20 minutes. So it is sort of linked, but yes, Kristian Blummenfelt, huge, the biggest VO2 max I've ever seen in my life. It's so impressive. What a man, what a man, what a man. He's the man men want to be. He's the man women want, just because of that huge VO2 max that he's got. So well done, Kristian. Mate, there's a race. Can you actually believe it? There is a triathlon event happening this weekend. And I know you're excited for this one. I know you've got the timer set. I know you're counting down the days, and it is until Challenge Sir Bani Yas is happening in Abu Dhabi this weekend. Mate, just help me to understand how excited you are for this event.
It's all I've thought about for the last 48 hours, I would say.
Mm-hmm. Tell me, mate. Explain it to me. Have you got the start list there, or do you need me to bring it up?
I don't know who's racing it. I just know that whatever happens, it's going to echo through the history books.
I will be honest. This is a pretty impressive start list. It's for a January. It's tomorrow. January race. Challenge race in Abu Dhabi. It is a very, very impressive start list. So, I will go through who we have racing, and then we can have a bit of a chat about in the men's race. Jonas Schomburg, Peter Heinrich, Kieran Linders, Caleb Noble, Josh Ferris, Tom Davis, Emil Holm, our favourite patron pro athlete racer. There's a few, but he's a good one. Henri Schoeman, Andreas Dreitz, Pierre Le Corre. Any other men there that I see? There's fucking heaps of them, mate. They seem to be the big name men. And then in the women's race, we've got Ellie Salthouse, Natalie van Coevorden, Katrine Grijsbol Christensen, Julie Mathieu, Rianne Hughes, Fenella Langridge. Any others that I think are worth talking about? They sort of are the big ones to me. But I think this is a pretty good little start list, mate, for a like I said, an early season race.
Yeah, it is a fairly good start list. Emil Holm and Ellie Salthouse for the win.
So there's a few things. Firstly, Pierre Le Corre. I don't know if Pierre Le Corre, former short course French triathlete, actually had the fastest 70.33 debut in history. And the guy that after failing to get that Olympic spot, he did get the Olympic spot. He went to did he go to the Olympics? I think he went to the Olympics. Anyway, Pierre Le Corre. We've sort of not really seen much of Pierre Le Corre in the last little bit, so I think he's definitely one to watch. Josh Ferris is an Australian that I feel like more people need to start paying attention to. Josh has absolutely dominated some races last year. This guy seems to be the strongest swim biker, like the most, like, I guess underdog, or because he's not. I'm not saying he's not the most. He's flown under the radar the most in terms of super strong swim bikers. This guy is someone who's going to be absolutely frothing over this 20-meter draft rule because some of the results I've seen, like he was in Challenge CB or Lapu Lapu last year against Tyler, and he was like 9 minutes off the bike over those guys, and there was some good athletes, like there were some good athletes in that field. I think he's definitely one to watch this year. I think that as he's sort of growing and maturing, he's going to become a much more. His run is certainly a weakness compared to some of the other guys, but when you've got 10 minutes off the bike in a 70.3, you can fucking walk the thing, to be honest.
Yeah, you're kind of all right, aren't you?
This race, though, is interesting because last year the pros rocked up, and because it's on an island, sort of in Abu Dhabi, not in the city, they provide accommodation on a cruise ship. They get a cruise ship. They seem to do this a lot with Abu Dhabi events. I know that, like when they had the World Cup in that part of the world. Anyway, the athletes rocked up last year, and the cruise ship wasn't there, so they had to try to hustle and find alternative accommodation, which I believe was quite far away, and then the athletes had to keep getting like ferried back and forward. So I spoke with Belinda recently, Belinda Granger from Challenge Family, who assured me the cruise ship will be there this year.
He's got a cruise liner in place this time, actually.
Emil, if you can confirm with us, mate, that the cruise ship is there. I did like that Emil was putting up footage of him in Denmark, and it's absolutely snowing and miserable. It's like perfect prep for Challenge Sir Bani Yas,
Yes,
considering
without question.
I think it was like 45 degrees on race day last year. Yeah,
Oh,
absolutely. It was very hot last year. But this is also the race. I don't know if you saw the footage where they've got like giraffes and stuff. So they'll ride around this. It's like a wilderness reserve, I suppose you'd call it. So
I'm up for that.
you're out on the course, and there's fucking giraffes and zebras and all sorts of things. So it's pretty iconic. But like I said, mate, this start list, like, Kieran Linders, we've seen do what he can do. Josh Ferris, one to watch. Emil Holm, another guy I think is going to absolutely benefit from that 20-minute draft. He's so strong on the bike and short course, so can run as well. Henri Schoeman, we saw Henry sort of not really do anything last year. We'll talk about that other race that happened over the weekend, but Henry was second there. On paper, again, should do really, really well. But again, I think he's probably going to be a victim to that 20-meter rule when it comes in a little bit. I think he was one of the people who spent the most time in the draft zone at Challenge Roth last year. I don't know if it is 20 meters at this one, but yeah, so you reckon Emil for the win here?
Yeah, why not? Emil for the win. Ellie Salthouse on the women's side.
We've got to talk about the women's race as well. But I think Pierre Le Corre is going to be pretty. I mean, we haven't even spoken about Jonas Schomburg. Jonas Schomburg's also, probably the most, if you had to say like a most improved athlete from last year, it's Jonas Schomburg.
Yeah,
so
he's bloody good, isn't he? Hard man to look past.
I didn't pick a winner. I'm going to pick Pierre Le Corre and Emil Holm for a podium. In the women's race,
I'm going to say Emil for the win, but Jonas Schomburg. Hard to look past.
Jonas Schomburg first off the bike.
Yeah.
Fastest first kilometer.
Yeah.
How long can he hold on? He's so good.
He's fucking good at the long course.
Again, the guy that genuinely makes it exciting for me to watch. I've always loved the way Jonas Schomburg races. Death Taxes and Jonas Schomburg too fast at a T2. The women's race, the names that really sort of stand out to me. So you're convinced it's Ellie.
Yeah, I'm convinced it's Ellie. I think she had a tough year, obviously last year with surgery and stuff and getting back into it, but I really think she's going to be flying this year.
You see, the two athletes that put real question marks for me, one is Natalie van Coevorden. So Nat was an Australian Olympian, went to the Olympics short course last year, sort of fully committed to going long, and did really well, mate. Like won multiple 70.3s, multiple 70.3 podiums. When she finished, I think she finished second to Georgia Taylor Brown at Bahrain at the end of last year, but she ran like a very impressive run. She was only not far back off Georgia. And I've always thought if there was a slight weakness with Nat's racing, it probably was the run. And that result in Bahrain made me go, okay, no, not the case anymore. So Nat to me is definitely one to watch. Fenella Langridge, Now, we saw Fenella basically miss last year, to be honest. She had a medical issue come up that she needed surgery for, serious one. And I think she did a few little races at the end of last year just to sort of get back into it. But from all reports, she's ripped and ready to go this year. It's gonna keep framing my sort of discussion, but there's an athlete I think will definitely benefit from that 20-meter change to the draft, and not just again, I don't know if it's at this race, but at all races, because she's such a one of the strongest swimmers in the sport. She's in that top echelon, probably. You got Lucy Charles above everyone else, and then the next group, which definitely includes Fenella.
She is a
Fenella,
really good swimmer.
sorry,
She's a really good swimmer.
so good, and so good on the bike. And again, if you had to say there's a slight weakness with Fenella, it's the run. I'm super cute, just fascinated to see where she's at. She's got a whole bunch of new sponsors this year. I've seen she's joined Purpose. I know that kit is fast because we helped. I was like very hands-on in the development of that kit and the testing and everything. So she was in the winter. Yeah, it
after
definitely.
a hard year, good to see her back racing. It'd be great to see her back at the pointy end of things. She's like you say, she's one of those athletes that's a good enough swimmer to be very much front pack on every race she does. So she's always factoring in that bike element of it. And then, like you say, if ever there is a falter, then it's the run.
So you're sticking with Ellie, or is there someone else? I'm going to go with Nat. I think we could see a good battle between those three. I think that Nat, based on last,
thought by whoever's sent me raffle prizes at the moment, to be honest. And Ellie's been very kind.
Yes, don't fib, mate. It wouldn't matter if every other female athlete in that field sent you raffle prizes and Ellie didn't. I know you'd still back Ellie.
There's still a chance, yeah.
No, I'm gonna back Nat, because I just feel like we've seen that progression over the last few years, and yeah, I really like that. Plus, she's Australian, so is Ellie. I love you, Ellie, too. You've one of our most frequent guests. And then I want to see if you knowledge as well. But yeah, this race will be broadcast as well. I think Belinda's over there to do the commentary. Always a good time when Belinda Granger is commentating the race. I'll actually have to message her and get some tips about what she sees. She's I love Belinda, how she loves to try to say she's objective and is so unobjective. It makes me laugh. Like Belinda has her favorites and she doesn't even intend to like show by, and then she's just like, oh, this ad. I'm like, Belinda, come on, mate. No, it's all right, mate.
Yeah. She does wear it on her sleeve, doesn't she?
Absolutely.
But then that's what we love about her.
100%. She's just one of the best things in this sport. Speaking of this sport, mate, I don't know if you saw this happened over the weekend, but I saw that there was a race happening. My Instagram was sort of swallowed up at the last minute over the weekend by this event. I saw, and there was some names that I know, like Brad Weiss and Henri Schoeman, and I'm watching this and I'm like, so they're swimming, and I see Henry's first out of the water, and then they're onto the bike, and I'm watching it, and I'm like, hey, he's on a mountain bike. That's a bit different. Maybe it's slightly extra. Next minute, they're in a kayak. I'm like, what the fuck is happening here? So there was a new multi-stage endurance race that launched in Abu Dhabi over the weekend, which was called the Samla International Qatar event.
Yeah, Samla 100 International multi-stage endurance race in Qatar.
My belief is it was a swim, a bike, a run, a kayak.
2K swim, 80K bike, 18-kilometer run.
Then a bike.
Yeah.
Then a run.
Yeah. It was set up against the awe-inspiring backdrop of southern Qatar's sweeping sand dunes. The pre-race publicity said the course offers both beauty and brutality in equal measures. It's not a race for the faint-hearted. The participants will battle nature terrain, yada, yada, yada. It was 6 stages, 3K swim, 21K run, 22K mountain bike, 4K kayak, and a 22-kilometer mountain bike, and a 28-kilometer run.
Please.
The staggering 49 kilometers of running in searing heat, plus sections of the bike where the sand and elevation meant the competitors had to get off and push.
Jesus Christ.
Fuck that.
I think it sounds awesome. I saw this.
It sounds awesome, but fuck that.
Did you know? So Jess Learmonth was there. I know Jess was over there. I saw. Oh God, I should probably get the results up. Rachel Klamer was there. Give us the results.
Yeah, hang on. I haven't got. It's not just a list.
Bradley Weiss. Yeah, you go.
Jess Learmonth was one of those involved in the 200 with Qatar. Rachel Klamer and Jess Learmonth raced alongside each other, but it was on the last leg, the brutal 28 kilometers on soft sand in the energy sapping heat, where Klamer finally pulled clear. So Rachel Klamer came first and Jess Learmonth came second. I saw Jess's Instagram post and she said it was the hardest thing she's ever done. And the pictures didn't give lie to that.
And I believe in third place was, what's that? Sorry, who's her name here? Salita Castro Noguero. I'm very sorry that I have absolutely butchered that. She was third place in the women's. Then in the men's, you had first place was Bradley Weiss. Second place was Henri Schoeman. Same thing. I think the Bradley and Henry were basically shoulder to shoulder on that last run. And then in the end, Bradley, obviously with a few more Ironmans under his belt than Henry, and Henry obviously coming back from all manner of malady last year. Like I saw him finish, he's got fucking tape all over his knees. Second, and then in third place, I don't actually know who was in third place. It was, I don't recognize that photo. I think it was Milan Bronze, actually. Am I right? Was it Milan? Yeah, Milan Bronze was third place in the men's race.
I mean, I will commit now, if you do, to do it with you next year if it's open to amateur entries.
Mate, I'm fucking. I have a interest in doing this race. To be honest, I think it
sounds fun.
So we have something similar in this part of the world, which is called Coast to Coast. It's the race that Braden Curry has done and won like a million times. It's sort of, I think Braden was I think you call it adventure racing. Braden did this before he really sort of switched to pro triathlon. But I did watch this and go, fuck, the only thing that I don't love the thought of is running on sand. I just think that sounds fucked, to be honest. I don't think I'd necessarily want to do that. But I like that we're seeing, like, that's, again, for a non-triathlon, there's some very big triathlon names. Getting Jess Learmonth, I think in particular, is like a real pull. Yeah, I love it. I love that there's this different stuff happening, and huge prize purse. To first place, 50,000 US, second place, 30,000 US. Like, fucking
yeah,
well done to them. Like, what a good payday. And you would have thought that with Challenge Sir Bani Yas happening this weekend, there'd be more athletes who like go there and do the double. But I don't actually think that there's that many that are. So maybe because it was so hard. But yeah, I just wanted to highlight it because I thought it was really cool and something a little bit different.
So we're going to do it 2027, yeah?
I don't know if I want to commit to that at this point. Still quite enjoying my focus and just on running.
A mountain bike, that would have to be a purchase.
I don't have a mountain bike. When I lived in Norway, I had a mountain bike and I crashed that thing. You name a way of crashing a bike, and I crashed that bike like over the handlebars, backwards, sideways, diagonally. The worst crash I ever had on a mountain bike, and the men will understand. I was on a climb out of the saddle and my chain snapped. So I've gone bang, and I've absolutely knackered myself on the stem, on the handlebar. It was like I cried really hard, like proper tears, because it hurt so badly. Absolutely knackered myself on that stem. It wasn't a good time. And yeah, when I moved back to Australia, I said, I'm not going to ride a mountain bike ever again. Thank you very much. But maybe run to the death. Oh, they said you had to get off and push, right?
I think riding up sand dunes is probably difficult.
Fuck that. Did you see the footage? It looks cool though, right? Like it looks like a really...
It does look cool, yeah.
Good spot for race.
It's right up my street. I mean, fuck that. But when I say fuck that, I mean, it's going to be hard, but it's right up my street. I love it.
Maybe 2028. I'll sort of, yeah, okay, maybe we'll do it 2028. I think I need a bit more time to wrap my head around it. But yeah, that's it, mate. We're wrapping things up for another week here at Talking Triathlon. Mate, if there's people out there who want to find out more about us, I actually forgot to do this at the start of the episode. Patreon.com/Talking Triathlon, where you get all the good stuff. But I'll let you do your little spiel and then I'll give the sales pitch.
If you want to support the show, jump on at patreon.com/Talking Triathlon. As Tim just said, if you want to follow Tim, he's at T414 on Instagram. I'm at bale.james85 on Instagram. We're also on Instagram. That's at Talking Triathlon. If you join the Patreon group, we'll put you in you'll get the monthly bonus episode. We'll put you in the WhatsApp group if you so wish. You'll be part of that community, and that brings the races to life when they are happening and also provides constant entertainment when they are not. If you're not part of the Patreon group, though, the best place to leave a comment or get in touch is YouTube.
Can I ask? Sorry. Yep. Patreon, as he said, we will donate 1 month's Patreon money towards my. I feel a bit, to my fundraiser. I'm doing it for Beyond Blue, which is a mental health charity in Australia. I chose them because over the last sort of 18 months, I've had quite the run of mental health challenges myself, and I thought that if I can use trying to run a marathon for providing things for other people doing it tough, that would be good. But we'll put a month's Patreon money towards that, like we did for James. Mate, when are you going to be announcing the information about your charity? Raffle. When's that all launching?
It'll be in the month of February, and the raffle will take place in March.
Okay, excellent. So what we're going to start doing as well on the show notes, probably from this week on both YouTube and podcast apps, I'll start to link our charity fundraiser links. So if anybody, wants to, you don't have to, please don't feel obligated. But it would be helpful because I think they're both really, really good.
If you put my link on there, anybody that does want to donate, feel free, but bear in mind, donating before the raffle won't get you an entry to the raffle. So if you're donating to get an entry for the raffle, wait until I've told you that's gone live.
Okay, that's what we'll do then. So I'll put mine up now because I don't have a raffle. Maybe I will if fundraising doesn't go so well. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for listening. James, thank you, mate. I didn't think we'd get through it, and we did. So we did well.
Did it.
Even though
early season, mate, is a test.
I love it that we bring up a race. I'm thinking we got a good 10 minutes to talk, and you're just like Ellie's Salthouse, Emil Holm. Like, mate, don't do that. Jesus, we got to talk about this for 10 minutes. Fuck you. And remember, it is the BIanchi Pro Triathlon team. It is no longer the BMC Pro Triathlon team. Bale, thank you very much, mate. I'll talk to you later.
Cheerio.